When did you realize you were being used by someone you trusted? I was 17 when Professor Whitmore changed my life. At least, that's what I thought was happening. I'd been struggling in community college, working nights at a diner to pay for classes, when he pulled me aside after my first sociology exam. I'd gotten a B+, which felt like a miracle given I'd been studying between tables and bathroom breaks. "You have real potential," he said, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses. "Have you considered transferring to a 4-year university?" I almost laughed. "I can barely afford this place. What if I told you there were opportunities? Scholarships, grants, research positions." His eyes lit up like he'd discovered something precious. "I run a mentorship program for promising students from disadvantaged backgrounds. Full funding, career guidance, networking opportunities." It sounded too good to be true. But Professor Whitmore had a PhD from Princeton, published books, and wore the kind of expensive watches that whispered success. When someone like that believes in you, you don't ask too many questions. The program was exclusive, just 12 students. We met twice weekly at his home, a sprawling colonial in the wealthy part of town. The other kids were like me, first-generation college students, working multiple jobs, dreams bigger than our bank accounts. He called us his diamonds in the rough. The first few months were incredible. Professor Whitmore connected me with scholarship opportunities I'd never heard of. He helped me transfer to State University with a full ride. He even paid for my textbooks when my financial aid was delayed. "Investment in your future," he'd say, waving off my attempts to pay him back. The research project started small, data entry for his upcoming book about socioeconomic mobility. I felt honored to contribute to real academic work. Then he asked me to interview other students about their backgrounds, family income, parents' education levels, personal struggles. "It's for a case study on educational resilience," he explained. "Your story could help hundreds of kids like you." I threw myself into the work. I interviewed dozens of students, compiled detailed reports about their families' financial situations, their vulnerabilities, their dreams. Professor Whitmore was building something important, and I was part of it. That's when the letters started arriving. First, it was Destiny from our mentorship group. Her grandmother received a notice about a scholarship Destiny had supposedly applied for, one that required a $500 processing fee to secure the funds. The return address was a P.O. box I didn't recognize, but the letterhead looked official. Then Camden's mother got a call about his guaranteed acceptance to graduate programs for just a small consultation fee. I brought my concerns to Professor Whitmore during our weekly check-in. He nodded thoughtfully, his expression grave. "I'm afraid this is common," he said. "Scammers target families of promising students, especially those from lower income backgrounds. They know these parents will do anything for their children's education." He pulled out a file folder. "I've been tracking similar schemes. It's heartbreaking, really. These predators see opportunity in desperation." I felt naive for even suspecting him. Of course, Professor Whitmore wasn't involved. He was the one protecting us, warning us about these very dangers. But something nagged at me. The timeline felt wrong. How did these scammers know exactly which students to target? And why did every family approached have a child in our mentorship program? 3 weeks later, I found my answer by accident. I'd forgotten my laptop charger at Professor Whitmore's house after our Thursday session. When I returned to get it, I used my key. He'd given each of us one for the research room, and let myself in quietly. I could hear him on the phone in his office, voice carrying down the hallway. "Mrs. Rodriguez? This is Dr. Harrison from the National Merit Foundation. I'm calling about your daughter Lucia's application." My blood turned to ice. Lucia was in our group, and Professor Whitmore was using a fake name. I crept closer to his office door, heart hammering. "Yes, she's been selected for our elite scholarship program. The full amount is $25,000, but we need a processing fee to release the funds. Just $800 to verify the account." I couldn't fit what happens next in this short video. Watch the rest down below.